It sounds nice that adventurers get to start their day early, but most poor people get to start their day early too. Nobles, wealthy merchants, and scholars with chaotic lives are the only ones who sleep until noon. That could just be Rent FAA's bias, but Rent scholar friends forget to sleep for days at a time because they're so focused on their research. Rent should check in on them soon either way. Not something a low-level bronze-class adventurer who grew up in a town that is too small to be on the map would do. Rent FAA knows one reason: adventurers get up early to get good jobs. The Adventurers Guild helps us find jobs that are right for our level and skills. There are many jobs to choose from, such as killing monsters, keeping people safe, gathering herbs and materials, and even cleaning muck out of drains. Some friends stopped by to say hello to Rent and ask if he had found any good job requests. But it looked like Rent still hadn't found a job that fit him. Rent thought he would go to the labyrinth of the moon's reflection. Most adventurers go on trips with other people, but Rent usually works alone. Some things make that happen, but mostly it's because he's not well. He has been adventuring for 10 years, but he is only bronze, which is the second lowest rank. However, he can still make a living by killing monsters and selling magic stones and other supplies to the guild. He even has an emergency fund because he's such a careful adventurer, but at that moment he lost his caution, which is important for all adventurers, because he found something unbelievable in the labyrinth of the moon's reflection that had been explored many times and was now empty. Could it be a secret passageway? If so, it would be a great find. No one has been to this area yet. He might find some valuable weapons or magical gear. No, he could make a lot of money just telling the guild this. If he had been smart, he would have ignored it, but he was a fool and went into that scary and suspicious area by himself. There, he met a real dragon, the scariest monster of all time. Legend has it that they come in many shapes and sizes, and some of them are much bigger than most dragons. He knew right away that it was a dragon, even though he had never seen one before. The dragon's presence and the pressure it put on him proved it to be a dragon as a 1000-year bronze-class adventurer. He didn't have a chance against something so unique. How am I still alive after a dragon ate me? Wait a minute. Is it true that I'm not dead? I look like a skeleton, and I'm an undead, an immortal monster. But a bishop or priest could easily kill me with their purification magic, because being an undead goes against God's rule that the dead are not meant for this world. That way, does that mean he died? No, he's still awake and remembers things. I need to go back to town. That's not possible for me. Oh, wait, I'm already dead, so I don't want to be destroyed. No, I'm not sure what you mean. An adventurer shouldn't lose his mind. It's not useful to think about questions. I'm not able to answer right now. The dragon seems to be gone, but I should still leave this place. You can find these mazes all over the world. Some researchers have tried to figure out their mysteries, but no one is sure where they come from or how they work. There are different sizes of labyrinths, but they all hold valuable magical items and treasures, and monsters can be found in them. Around every corner. Oh, and monsters are also mysterious. Everyone is probably at the labyrinth of the new moon, where you can make a lot of money in a few days. Some people who like to travel alone, like me, should come here and ask them for help. He needs to first figure out how I'll talk to them. He runs up to attack the undead as soon as he sees it. He might feel heavy because he doesn't have any muscles. He is even less capable than a normal person because his physical abilities are so much worse. That's what you'd expect. In the end, he's just a bone. Now it would be easy for him to beat them. He should be careful now that he can't raise his sword because he is a person. That's not okay. He shouldn't expect to be able to do fancy sword moves since he's made of bones, but what about his other skills? All living things get their strength from their vital energy, or spiritual energy. You and I are the same right now. Even though we are both strong, his gear gives him an edge if he uses his spirit energy to improve his physical skills. He's getting back the spirit energy he just used for his attack power. Could it be that monsters, for some reason, change into better beings over time and with experience? People change too, but monsters are on a whole other level. As an example, a skeleton usually stays a skeleton forever, but sometimes they change into ghouls. This is called existential evolution. Yes, that is one of the things that Lorraine Vivey is studying. Ghouls are also undead, but they are more like humans because they have flesh. Rent might be able to get back to town if he hides himself with his robes and masks. It is important for him to strive for existential evolution. First, he'll defeat monsters in this labyrinth and turn into a ghoul that night. Lorraine Vivey didn't understand why her rent wasn't paid today, and she's going to make dinner herself, so that's 5. His ability to move around has mostly been restored anyway. He can use spirit because this light seems to heal him. As long as he has energy in Babel, he will try to fight some stronger monsters. Next, slimes are a classic example of a weak monster, but you shouldn't underestimate them. Amorphous liquid monsters are harder to hurt with physical attacks. The easy way to beat them is with magic, but he can't use offensive magic. He can only start fires that are safe for home use, so he'll have to use physical attacks to beat it. Either pierce its core or break up its liquid form until it can't come back together. You need to be weak and skilled. He can use up all of his spirit energy once a day to beat them. He's most likely to fight slimes, but it looks like he got lucky and hit one in the core with his blade first. He'll now get its magic stone. Slimes can fire an acid blast, but once they're dead, the acid is gone from their bodies. Slime fluids are used to make cosmetics for women because they make your skin smooth and clear when you stick your hand in them. Don't we have to stop using monsters to make cosmetics? Women must always want to look beautiful. This is enough to pay for a few days at an inn near the adventurer's base. Sheila put Newbie in a certain party and was going to ask Jen for help, but she hadn't seen him yet. A few days from now. That's not normal. Sheila promised the newbie that she would put her in touch with a helpful veteran if she could wait a few days. However, the newbie looked like she was short on cash. That should be fine, Sheila told her about the labyrinth of the moon's reflection. Nobody new should have any trouble with it. Rent isn't hungry or sleepy at all if they're good with a sword. He thinks it's clear that since he's not dead, whatever he ate would probably fall to the ground. He fought all night because he thought it was fun, but it looks like existential progress. It takes longer than that. His physical abilities were much worse when he turned into a skeleton, but they're mostly back to normal now. He tested his spirit and energy after killing those monsters and found that it still worked. He can also use his mana. He can even use his godlike powers even though he is not dead. He does not wish to waste it. He's going to use it for this. Bread, divinity is a useful power that can clean water and keep food from going bad. It can also heal wounds and illnesses. It should last 3 more days after that. He believes. In 3 days, his body will need bread. Not worth your time to think about it. He should put his efforts into achieving existential evolution. For a while, he'll play it safe and slowly beat monsters. He can beat 1 or 2, but 3 would be tough. If he sees 4, he'll run away, and more than 5 will be too much for him. There isn't a good chance he'll meet groups that big in this labyrinth, but if he does, he'll be killed because he's so weak. The last time he went on an adventure was 10 years ago. Counting the time he spent training before that, it's been 20 years. On top of that, even the best adventurers don't have as much spirit, energy, mana, and divinity as he does. He only had one strong ability. He knows that being an adventurer isn't his thing. After a few years, most people stop going on adventures and go back to their village to farm or look for another job. But he thought that as long as he was alive, he'd figure something out, so he trained every day without fail. He asked a friend to teach him about magic and monsters. He took on even the smallest jobs. He did that for 10 years to become a mythal class, which was his dream. Adventurers with levels higher than gold and platinum. It's not even hard for naturally talented people to reach the top rank of adventurers who have saved whole nations. He will move up to mythal class. I've lived my whole life to become a skeleton. He's getting stronger than he was as a human, so it won't stop him. He was aware of it. It's not a mistake that he's getting stronger. These things can be sold by him. He should gather more. He's lucky to get more clear slime. Fluid slimes smell pretty bad after eating something, so their fluids can't be sold. What's going on? He's a ghoul, a creepy dead body, but he has flesh. This is a big step forward. If he works hard, he might be able to get even better at being undead.
The skeletal structure, chasing monsters and informing us that when ghouls multiply, it becomes quite troublesome. However, there won't be any issues if we position ourselves well and turn the battle into one-on-one combat. Since evolving into a ghoul, he feels more agile and attributes it to the increased muscle mass he has gained. What surprises him the most is the enhanced ability to use magic, spiritual power, and divine aura. Now, he can channel his full strength into his sword, killing monsters with a single strike. He realizes he has become much stronger than when he was human. The scene then transitions to a beautiful girl with yellow hair attacking the skeletal structure and breaking its neck with her sword. Our protagonist observes her from behind and decides to withdraw to avoid revealing his appearance in this form. He understands that if she sees him as a ghoul, she may either try to kill him or flee in fear. He contently watches from a distance, realizing that he hasn't seen her before, despite knowing most adventurers in the town. This is because many adventurers used to mock him and spread false rumors about his failures, but he managed to use their tendencies for his benefit. The girl continues on her way, and the ghoul follows, continuing his narration. He informs us that the guild believes having adventurers like him is beneficial, even with his low level. They haven't advised him to stop, and the decrease in the number of adventurers has improved the overall quality in the town. The girl walks ahead, and the ghoul keeps watching. As she walks, a strange light appears, and we see another skeletal structure in front of her. Startled, the girl attacks it with her sword. It's clear she's skilled with the blade, but she faces some challenges due to her lack of strength. Failing to cut through the skeletal structure, it pushes her back. The ghoul approaches her as she tries to attack with her sword again, but he effortlessly catches the blade with his hand, pushing her backward. In these tense moments, Rento watches the situation from a distance, realizing he has no choice but to intervene and save her. Rento rushes towards them with great speed. When the skeletal structure turns to him, Rento unleashes his immense power, splitting his sword into two halves. Rina is astonished by what the skeletal structure has done. As Rento approaches her to make sure she's okay, Rina is fearful and warns him not to come closer. Rento, wanting to convey that he is not an enemy, drops his sword, raises both hands, and introduces himself as an adventurer just like her. He tells her his name is Rento, but Rina hears it differently, welcoming him as Mr. Rondu. Rento corrects her, and when she asks about his unusual appearance, he explains that he died but is still alive, giving him a different form from other monsters. Grateful for Rento's assistance, Rina acknowledges that without him, she would have been among the dead. Rento asks her to fetch him some clothes, as he wishes to return to his hometown and would appreciate her help. He hands her some money, instructing her to buy him clothes and keep the rest. Rina introduces herself as Robaju Rina and promises to repay the favor. She asks him to wait for her to return with the clothes, expressing her fear of his current form. Rento, left alone, is concerned that Rina might report him to the guild. The scene shifts back to the city, specifically to the moment when Rina arrives, still catching her breath. Sheila, upon seeing Rina unharmed, becomes relieved and worried, wondering why she took so long and noting the absence of injuries or scratches on her. Sheila had been anxious as the sun set, and Rina had not returned to their meeting spot. Rina informed him that she had experienced a lot of events. The scene then shifts to Rento, who is now fighting those creatures and appears to be much stronger than when he was human. He possesses superhuman abilities and incredible speed, swiftly moving towards the monster and tearing it apart with his sword. He realizes that knowledge and training alone are not enough. Since his transformation, he feels that he has gained something he desired most in his life, the talent. In those moments, someone calls out to him, "Lord Rento, where are you?" When he turns around, he finds Rina has arrived. However, she is afraid of him, unsure if he is Rento or another being from the ghoul race. Rento reassures her that he is indeed Rento in his foolish appearance, and ghouls don't take such risks to climb to such heights. Rina then hands him the clothes and what remains of the money. Still somewhat frightened, she apologizes and asks him to give her some time to get used to the situation, as beginnings are always like this. Rento looks at the clothes Rina brought and is delighted to find a very good cloak that can conceal his entire body like magic, with inconspicuous colors. Seeing Rento so pleased with the clothes, Rina informs him that she bought something else for him, thinking he might need it. She had visited the town a short while ago, and the guild members guided her to a good shop where she bought these clothes. Rento then looks at the bag of clothes and finds that she bought him a hood. She explains that she thought he might be in trouble if people saw his hands or feet. Rento becomes even more joyful, feeling grateful for her kindness. He was on the verge of tears, as he had found someone with such generosity at that moment. Sensing his sadness, Rina calls out to him and he assures her that he is fine. He is just extremely happy with what she has done for him. He is eager to wear the new clothes right away. And indeed, he puts on the clothes and finds that it is very easy to move in them. They might slightly obstruct his vision, but he won't face any problems if the opponent is just a monster or two. Rina asks him about his opinion on the clothes, and he tells her that he is very happy with them. Rina is delighted that she succeeded in this task. She then tells him that he looks very attractive in these clothes, somewhat resembling Barrow White. She hands him a mirror, and when Rento looks at himself, he finds that his face is quite attention-grabbing. Rina then hands him a mask, revealing that she bought it because she learned he might have difficulty entering the town with his current appearance. Rento expresses his gratitude and takes the mask to wear it. Rina speaks to him about their first encounter, mentioning that she initially thought he was a rare monster with a certain name. Rento puts on the mask, and as it gets closer to his face, a strange aura appears. The mask adheres to Rento's face, astonishing Rina. Rento tries to remove it, but he can't. Rina becomes frightened, fearing that something might happen to him. She apologizes and explains that she took the mask from the store because she found it intriguing. Rento responds, asking if the guild directed her to that store. Rina confirms, stating that the guild indeed guided her to the store, and she only bought this mask, which was unbelievably cheap, only 3 copper coins. She initially ensured it wasn't cursed or anything harmful and that nothing strange happened when she touched it. Rento then mentions that if the curse activates only when he wears it, he'll use the aura's power to save himself. Rina is astonished, saying, "Can you use the aura?" Rento tries using the halo's power to free himself, surprising Rina even more. She exclaims, questioning his ability to use the halo. Then Rento responds to her, saying, "Yes, I used it briefly." He mutters to himself that the halo's power has increased, perhaps enough to remove a simple curse like this. Rento attempts to remove the mask, but it doesn't budge. Rina apologizes for buying the cursed item, blaming herself. Rento reassures her, saying it's not her fault and that he needs to cover his face. He plans to gather more money and visit a powerful priest to remove the curse, so she shouldn't worry. Rina then holds his arm, expressing that she's no longer afraid of him and has realized he's not a bad person. Rento thanks her and suggests she shouldn't force herself to get used to him. As they head back to the town, Rina explains that she registered her name as an adventurer in the guild in the capital. However, since the capital is full of skilled adventurers, there aren't many suitable tasks for beginners like her. The guild advised her to come to this town, and there are 2 dungeons nearby. Rento responds, praising her decision, but questioning why she chose to come to such a rural village. Rina explains she intended to leave the capital from the beginning and wanted to quickly polish her skills to become a mature adventurer. Rento warns her that adventurers must be extremely cautious because they only have one life, unlike him with multiple lives. They laugh together. Upon reaching the town, Rento appears hesitant. Rina asks what's wrong, and he explains that he has many acquaintances here, and if they see his card, his secret will be exposed. Rina suggests they enter through another gate where they won't be asked to show their cards. Rento agrees, saying they'll head to the western gate. He thanks Rina, acknowledging her role in his presence there. Rina tells him not to speak as if he's bidding farewell and assures him of her ongoing assistance even after they enter the town. Rento, expressing concern about being seen as a monster, mentions potential trouble for Rina, but she insists she will help him regardless. Rento then mentions that if he hadn't met her, he might be dead by now, leaving Rina emotional. So, shouldn't I risk my life once again for you, Lord Rento? Come on, let's go now and enter this village together. Indeed, they head towards the village entrance from the western gate. The guards ask them to reveal their identities, so they present their adventurer cards, confirming that they are adventurers. Rina enters first, followed by Rento. However, Rento's peculiar appearance catches the guards' attention, and they surround him, asking to see his face. Rina quickly intervenes, claiming that there's a curse on his mask, and he can't remove it. One of the soldiers, surprised, questions the possibility of such a curse. Rina explains that Rento's voice changed due to a wound he received in a fight with a monster. Rento reveals a part of his head, stunning the soldiers. Rina confirms that he bought the mask to hide the scar but was unaware that it was cursed, and now he can't remove it. Feeling sorry for his misfortune, the guards request Rento to try removing the mask himself, assuring him it won't harm him if they touch it. A soldier attempts to pull it off with all his strength but fails. Rento then asks the guard to try, ensuring that he won't be harmed. The soldier struggles but cannot remove the cursed mask. Rina informs them that they will need a considerable amount of money to have a priest from the church remove the curse. The guards, sympathizing with their situation, allow them to pass. Rina expresses her joy at successfully crossing, and Rento thanks her for everything. Suddenly, Rento disappears when a carriage passes in front of them. Rina tells him that she only did what she could to repay the kindness he showed her. Rento, appreciative, thanks her, and they continue their journey. Rina continues searching for him and finds him hiding next to the wall. When she sees him, she calls out and looks for him, making him confirm that she is indeed a kind girl. Despite her inexpensive equipment, she takes care of them well, showcasing skill with the sword and bravery. Rento reflects on how adventurers with talent like hers eventually abandoned him. He apologizes, stating he will return and apologize to her once he regains his human form to some extent. As darkness falls, he arrives at a house and thinks to himself that it pains him to exploit a kind girl like Rina. However, he still needs assistance, desiring someone more cunning, someone who can hide these secrets. He knocks on the door, but there's no answer. He decides to enter the house and finds a woman sleeping. He calls out to her, recognizing her as Loren. He asks her to wake up, but she pleads with him to let her sleep a little longer. Threatening to drop books on her head, she begs him not to, but suddenly she wakes up and questions him. Startled, she notices Rento has removed one of his gloves, revealing a gruesome sight. Confused and shocked, she wants to know what happened. And with that, our episode concludes today.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.